Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to chapter 8.4.3 Weapon Path. The defenders are going to be Spiderman Stark Enhanced, Cable, Vulture, Toad, Kingpin, and Shocker. The nodes are going to be Weapon, Gamma Infuser, Disarm with the Striker, and Unarmed with Damage over time, and Capture with SP1 Knockdown. Now the whole thing for this path is bring in champions that have damage over time. You can bring with class advantage, that will help you. All you need to do is to use a striker that will disarm the opponent, and within the time it is disarmed, you can apply a lot of debuffs, and that will do 200% extra damage. You can also capture the weapon with special 1, and you can dash in with the unstoppables to do 500% extra damage on specials. More on that explained on the video when we get into the fights. You will need relics because they will be important for you to work around the weapon node, and your boosts and masteries are going to be the simple ones. You can use your ouchies and non-ouchies, both of them work. For your champions, your damage over times will be the best ones in my opinion. You can also go for nukers, somebody like Hercules, Hyperion, Hulkling, they can also work for you. The boss island is going to be a Sasquatch with Dawn of Protection, Dazed and Confused, Bleedability, and True Lies. So more on him later in the video. So let's jump into the path and check it out. Now the first fight is going to be against the Spiderman Stark Enhanced. Don't blink because the fight will finish that quick. Venom is probably my favorite champion for the path because there are going to be 3 of tech champions. So if you have a Venom with a Venom relic, oh, he's going to melt away the defenders. Look at that. Because simply put, his bleeds are amazing, and then he puts bleed vulnerability with his own striker. And what I like to do is to use a striker and then not capture the weapon with an SP1. Let it stay unarmed, because when it's unarmed, the bleeds will do 200% extra damage, and together with the bleed vulnerability, he really kills off Stark, Spider, or any defender very quickly. The only problem you will have will be going against a Cable, because with bleeds you will get degen, but other than that, Venom can handle anything, any defender on this path. Next defender is going to be a Cable. I am going to use a Shuri because she has a lot of damage over time, but also her precisions work really well with the weapon node. So the whole idea here is to build up to an SP1 and throw it before I use a striker and unarmed Cable. That's very important. Just be careful about the dash and unstoppable when the weapon is not unarmed. So right here, I'm going to use an SP1 and I have all those positions. Those are guaranteed crits. So now I'm going to wait for him to dash in. I'll just wait out the unstoppable, and I'm going to use my striker. There we go. I have unarmed him, and now every hit of critical I do, look at that damage, 27, 27, 42,000. So it multiplies together with the hit of applying the shocks as well, and because shocks do extra damage 200%, so the hits also do extra damage. So Shuri is also a great counter for the mutants on this path. Next up is going to be a Vulture, so I'm going to try something different. Gore is one of my latest 7-star pulls, so I'm going to try and use it on this path. So I'm going to do the same. I'm not going to capture the weapon. I am going to simply first build up my own charges, my own buffs. Once I have 2 of each and I am near 2 bars of power, that's when I'm going to activate my weapon or activate my striker to unarm the weapon, and then just medium mediums, and try to apply as much of those buffs of debuffs on Vulture as possible. So right here I'm going to use a striker, disarmed. Now all about mediums here. Now I already have 6 debuffs, so just like that I'm going to keep building up the debuffs, and just look at him melt. 2000 per tick from every debuff. Look at that. So I'm going to do that as long as possible until the unarmed is there, and then throw an after he triggers an SP2, I'm going to throw an SP3 to do maximum amount of damage with all the debuffs that are applied. That will bring him down to I think 5 or 10%, and I will just knock him out. So if you have a guard that is like rank 2 and duped, he is amazing for this path, so he can get through all of these fights as well. But originally I would say if you have a Venom is like OP for this path. You can use him. He can get through all the fights, including a very nasty Shocker at the end of it. Moving to fight number 4, it's going to be a Toad. We're going to bring in a Shuri again, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to build up to an SP1 with at least 10 shocks applied with parry and a 5-hit combo. Then we're going to throw an SP1 and build up those precisions. We're going to let Toad throw an SP2 and work around as unstoppable. And right into a striker. That's going to unarm him, and now look at those criticals doing double damage, 27, 27, 27, 42, and just like that, Toad is dead. So Shuri is super awesome for this path, but also remember my Shuri is rank 3, so damage values are increased as well. So if you have a rank 2 at least, then she would work great. Now on to the first annoying fight of the path, that is going to be a Kingpin. I'm just going to use a bishop here, and the idea here is I use my SP1 and then I use my striker. What that will do is apply quite a bit of incinerates on Kingpin, and that damage over time will kick in, and if he shrugs off, he's going to take damage because of bishop's ability. So right here I use an SP1. I'm going to wait for him to throw an SP1 in my face, and I'm going to use a striker here. Boom. And now look at that damage over time. Yeah, so I just try to stay near him and dodge his SP1s, and I should be able to take him down. Now, because there's only one incinerate at a time, so I took the weapon for myself. Now what I need to do is I need to build up to an SP2, and if you notice, whenever I dash in, after a cooldown, I get an unstoppable. So the idea here is I use a SP2 when I am unstoppable, so that would do some extra damage to Kingpin. So you can go that route as well if you don't want to go the route of using damage over time champions. This is where Hercules and this is where Hulkling, these type of champions, they shine. So right here I'm gonna dash in first, just building up some prowesses. I think that is enough. So I'm gonna wait to dash in. I have unstoppable. Now I'm gonna throw it, and that's going to be extra damage. 179,000 crit, and Kingpin is down. Now we are barely 5 minutes into the path, and we are up to the last defender. Now the shocker is super annoying. I would suggest do not try to go for those damage over time shenanigans. Just try to get a champion that has a big specials, and still you need to be careful. I mean, Venom will still work, but I'm showing you a different option with Hulkling. So right here I'm going to use a striker, unarm him, and I'm going to throw my SP on straight away so I can capture the weapon for myself. So now the whole thingy is I need to bring up to my SP2 and then hit him in the block before I throw a special. So that's important, so I can do extra damage all across. So I need that unstoppable first, so I want to dash into him, but he's being very aggressive. He's not letting me dash in. That's the unstoppable, and 51, 51, and 51. I was unlucky that none of those hits crit. Otherwise, if one of those hit was critting, Shocker would have died already. So yeah, just be wary about the Shocker. I think Hulkling works really well. You can also use here Hercules. He's a good option too. Venom will also work, but remember how to play around with them. If you're going to use the damage over time, do not capture the weapon. If you're not going to use damage over time, capture the weapon and go for the big specials. So that's how you can get through and navigate through this path. And finally, we have a very tanky Sasquatch. Now, he's not difficult to deal with. He's just such a big tank, and he takes a lot of time to get down. To put in perspective, the whole path took me like 7 minutes, and a lone Sasquatch will take me 4 minutes to take him down. Now, if you play AQ map 8, you are very familiar with this node. So every, like I think, 15 seconds on the cooldown, Sasquatch will gain protection. You either have to use a medium attack or a heavy attack or a special attack as shown above with the prompts. You can use them each once until all of them reset and you go back into it again. So the whole premise of this fight is to keep the protections lower, because the damage you deal to him is very reduced, and Sasquatch is already a very tanky defender. So with all of those shenanigans, this fight can go very long. So I am using my Void. I was lucky to pull him as a 7-star, and he's rank 2 620. So all I'm going to do here is to slow play him and use my heavy attacks and mediums and specials and remove those protections. Try to keep them low at 0 and work around all the mechanics of the usual Sasquatch there is. And yeah, slowly melt him away. It is an annoying fight. It does take quite a bit. Just be patient and you should be able to take him down. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you find it helpful. There's going to be one more on 8.4.3 and we are almost done with 8.4. Thanks for checking out the channel and stay tuned for more videos, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.